Welcome to SVG-TV News for Tuesday, November 28, 2023. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. A magnitude 5.4 earthquake was registered to the east of St. Vincent and the Grenadines today. The Trinidad-based University of the West Indies Seismic Research Center said the quake occurred at 11:28 a.m. local time at an altitude 12.92 north and longitude 59.73 west at a depth of 25.8 kilometers. And it was felt 160 kilometers east of Kingston, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, 179 kilometers southeast of Castries, St. Lucia, 29 kilometers southwest of Bridgetown, Barbados. On social media today, Facebook users reported they felt the earthquake. Authorities in Barbados, where the quake was registered closest, advised residents that it was safe to continue normal activities as there were no tsunami threats. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves says there has been significant enhancement of undoubted growth and transformation in St. Vincent and Grenadines in terms of development over the years, particularly since 2001. The Prime Minister was at the time delivering the inaugural lecture of the Institute of Government and Politics of Latin America and the Caribbean at the Methodist Church Hall last evening on the topic Transforming Lives, Navigating Challenges, Shaping the Future, a story of transformative change in the face of challenges in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Prime Minister Gonsalves outlined how the material core of the country, which he said is the economy, has helped to address some of the challenges of the country.
We have internal challenges arising from some matters present in our nature. Volcano. We have, by our location, our geography, we are prone to natural disasters, and we are one of the countries in the world which is most prone to natural disasters. It's extremely vulnerable to natural disasters. But how, just by way of indicating, how do you address that? You address that by educating people about natural disasters, because we can't change where we are. You can't pick up St. Vincent and Grenadines and carry to Vladivostok or the mouth of the Amur River. What you do is that you take it where you are, because if you go to Vladivostok, there are certain natural challenges you're going to meet too. So don't think that there's anywhere where it's going to find it perfect. What do? You educate people, you build more resilience in a more resilient manner. You prepare for natural disasters. You set up an institution like NEMO. You staff it, you build satellite warehouses, you set up institutions, and you do a number of things to cope with that particular challenge. You have a resource called people, but people who are not trained are a limitation, because if you don't have people who are trained in science, technology, and manning production apparatuses at an efficient level, you're not going to make the most of what you have. But how do you solve that problem? You solve that problem by having, for example, an education revolution. So there are challenges, but they are how you meet those particular challenges in the process of transformation, in the process of development, which involves growth, which is quantitative, and development is quantitative and qualitative.
The Prime Minister said there are also matters which are part of our history, which are challenges including native genocide, the enslavement of African bodies, the historical legacies of colonialism.
Including a peculiar personality type which is created in the Caribbean, which has been created in the Caribbean through colonialism and the nature of the material base that we have had, which is to say an authoritarian personality, as it's placed in discussed in the literature. There are lots of sociological literature on this in the Caribbean, which oscillates between submission and aggression. And in fact, colonialism has created such a terrible psychological debilitation on colonized peoples that even when, for many persons, even when they're in high positions of authority, sometimes they feel themselves even subordinate to something mythical, something which is not there. And all of these things are embedded. How do you address that? You address that by liberating your thinking and becoming an individual with a level of consciousness and understanding of the world and your place in it to free you from these debilitations. But there are possible ways to deal with the various challenges.
On the external challenges, Prime Minister Gonzalez pointed to the ongoing threat of climate change and the global political economy, in which he said big powers want to determine what countries should be or do.
Our currency is tied to the US dollar. If the dollar is weaponized, the US dollar is weaponized against you, as it has been weaponized in the case of Cuba and Venezuela. You see the challenges that provides. But what you do to help to insulate yourself, you have solidarity among like-minded nations. And we ourselves in the Eastern Caribbean have formed ourselves into a monetary council and shape that in a particular way. And then there's the monumental existential challenge of climate change. And man-made climate change is creating a condition in the world, and we see it manifested in our region, where we are having more frequent natural disasters, more severe ones. And this matter is of great urgency. Indeed, the current budget for the year 2022, over 60% of the capital budget is devoted to adaptation and mitigation in relation to climate change, to actually correcting what climate change has done to us, or preparing to lessen any impact of future damage arising from man-made climate change. And the same thing is going to happen to the estimates which we are now discussing. Over 60% of it relating to this matter. And that's why it is important for all countries, including and especially developing ones, to go to Dubai for the Conference of Parties, the 28th edition of the Conference of Parties under the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change.
The Prime Minister also pointed to other external challenges, such as the war in Ukraine and Gaza, which he said are disrupting supply chain problems, creating difficulties in getting commodities, increasing food prices, and the manipulation of stock markets. Director of the Institute of Governance and Politics of Latin America and the Caribbean, Augustine Ferdinand, in delivering welcome remarks at yesterday's lecture, said the lecture is a significant step in their mission to promote knowledge, public engagement, education, and understanding of public policy, global challenges, and the present issues facing the society. Several stakeholders in the tourism industry have been awarded for their contribution to the industry at the annual Tourism Stakeholders Award and Cocktail held last Saturday evening at La View Hotel. Speaking at the ceremony, acting CEO of the SVG Tourism Authority, Avanel De Silva, said the people are the core of tourism and stakeholders have contributed significantly to the development of SVG's tourism industry.
Recognize, acknowledge, and celebrate the achievements, dedication, and commitment of our service providers who have contributed significantly to the growth and development of our tourism industry. It is my belief that people are the core of tourism. We are all the builders or destroyers of what is known as the tourism and hospitality industry. Each of us play a pivotal role in shaping the experiences and memories of visitors to our beautiful and diverse islands, the place we call home. Your passion and hard work speaks volumes and leaves lasting impressions on each of our visitors, and this we must always remember. Every act, deed, or word spoken leaves a first impression that becomes a last impression. So in our daily service, let us all strive to create and imprint positive impressions on the hearts and memories of our locals and visitors.
Silva congratulated tourism stakeholders for their achievements over the years and commended them for their commitment and contribution to the industry amidst the numerous challenges faced over the last few years.
In the midst of the challenges, we applaud the efforts of all. To the public agencies directly and indirectly involved in tourism, we thank you for your support. In the general context of tourism and hospitality, it begins at our air and seaports. So we take this opportunity to recognize the work and role of our air and seaport personnel and the staff of the Immigration and Customs departments. We cannot do this without you. To our accommodation providers, we applaud your efforts in the continued upgrades and upkeep of your facilities, and for also offering comfort and safety and a home away from home experiences to our visitors. We not only recognize the hard work of just our managers and owners, but we also recognize the special roles played by our front desk agents, housekeepers, maintainers, and food and beverage staff. You are the backbone of it all. To our tour operators, taxi operators, tour guides, short-term vehicle rentals, you transform journeys into adventures and exploration. But more than anyone, you are charged with adding the sweet and special element of storytelling, telling the beloved tales of our history, heritage, culture, flora, and fauna. You are the mobile story, books, and tellers who unveil the richness of who we are as a people.
And President of the SVG Hotel and Tourism Association, Kim Halbish, said that evidence has shown that St. Vincent and the Grenadines continues to climb upwards in the development and growth of its tourism industry.
The proof is there to see. It's unwavering. The international airport continues to add flights, and negotiations are in place for more. The explosion of vacation rentals are steadily increasing, and this can be seen online. Then there's a construction of larger brands like Marriott and Sandals and stuff. So we are moving, we are growing. Persons are adding boats, cruisers, taxi drivers are upgrading, they're ordering buses, and things are happening. We are preparing for more. Farmers and fishers are working to get larger produce, getting themselves organized to fulfill greater and bigger orders.
Noting that tourism is everybody's business, Halbish said that there are a lot of opportunities in the industry and urged young entrepreneurs to get involved.
Opportunities are almost limitless all around us. For the small enterprise, now is the time to get into the industry. Young entrepreneurs, it's your time. There will be an increased need for well-made and packaged beauty products, condiments, souvenirs, craft items, and the list has just started. The need for more events, entertainment spots, restaurants, street food, tour sites, which are in safe areas, well managed and well maintained. There will be a need for fresh fruit, fresh cut flowers, florists, fruit pulp, and I could go on. But as I'm trying to explain, tourism is everybody's business. Everybody can benefit. It's not just the hoteliers, the taxi drivers, the tour operators.
Tourism Month of Activities continues today with a lecture held under the theme Service Excellence, Enhancing the Customer Service Experience. The Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment and the Ministry of Tourism, Civil Aviation, Sustainable Development and Culture are hosting representatives of the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CAFA, and its Regional Tourism and Health Program THP for a one-week mission which began on Monday, November 27, 2023. The CAFA team, led by Dr. Lisa Endar, Director of Surveillance, Disease Prevention and Control and head of the THP, will be collaborated with both health and tourism stakeholders to officially launch the St. Vincent and Grenadines Tourism and Health Program, strengthening visitor-based surveillance and response, and build food safety capacity and strengthen foodborne disease surveillance. A news release from the Agency for Public Information API said the enhancement of these fundamental pillars through the integration of health and tourism via the THP program will lead to healthier, safer tourism for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. On Monday, November 27, the CAFA team was engaged in a high-level ministerial meeting with Minister of Health, Wellness and the Environment, Sinclair Prince, the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Simon Keyser Beach, Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Roger Duncan, Acting CEO of the SVG Tourism Authority, Avanel De Silva, the President of the SVG Hotel and Tourism Association, Kim Halbish. The SVG-THP Steering Committee meeting followed thereafter with the Ministry of Health surveillance team and additional tourism stakeholders, during which a tagline was confirmed: tourism and health working together to keep all safe. At the meeting, Minister Prince reportedly emphasized that health is especially important for tourism in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, as it is one country with many islands with porous borders, thus making it susceptible to the spread of diseases. The high-level discussion reiterated the significance of integrating health as a part of tourism and the crucial need for the THP and SVG, especially given its high dependency on tourism and hosting of the upcoming ICC Men's 20 Cricket World Cup. The CAFA team, in conjunction with both tourism and health officials, will be facilitating the following activities, culminating on December 1st, 2023. The launch of the SVG Tourism and Health Program, training in prevention and control of infectious diseases for the hospitality sector, regional guidelines, and the THP's land-based surveillance system, tourism and health information system, expansion and strengthening of the THP's land-based and sea-based surveillance systems, advanced food safety training and certification, distribution of the hospitality health safety and environmental sanitation standards, strengthening of SVG's outbreak investigation and food safety capacity, an update of the Integrated Foodborne Diseases National Action Plan, and completion of the THP and foodborne disease communicable disease assessments. SVG and CAFA, the THP initiative discussions on the establishment of the THP in 2021. Following the completion of the current CAFA THP mission, SVG will be the second country in the Organization of the Eastern Caribbean States, the OECS, to launch the THP and have a core trained in the advanced food safety training. The API news release said the first of its kind regional tourism and health program addresses the HSE threats to tourism with the aim of strengthening countries' capacity to prepare and respond to public health threats. This in turn enhances the health and safety of visitors and locals and improve the quality of competitiveness and resilience of Caribbean tourism. Implementing countries have enhanced capacity to mitigate against the threats like COVID-19 to sustainable tourism. According to the API, both SVG and CAFA THP will continue to work towards the further integration of health and tourism, thus promoting the healthier, safer tourism of SVG for both their local and tourist population. Welcome back. In more local news now, we hear that St. Vincent and the Grenadines is joining other countries around the world in observing 16 days of activism against gender-based violence under the theme Unite, Invest to Prevent Violence Against Women and Girls. On NBC Radio Talk Your Talk program today, teaching assistant of the National Adolescent Group, Marlon Young, said the rate of domestic violence in SVG is extremely high, and because of society and gender norms, men oftentimes suffer in silence as they are afraid to admit that they are being violated, and as a result, they refuse to report these incidents.
If we look around at most of the acts of violence that we see perpetrated in the home, it is normally done against women. We're just saying that when we look at the statistics, and that is something that is very alarming, because men do go through domestic violence, but because of our society, because of our gender norms, men are afraid to own up to the fact that they are violated. And so the reports are not there, and statistics are not there to prove that men are violated as much as women.
Coordinator of the National Family Planning Unit, Sister Alita Douglas, outlined several activities that they have planned for the campaign, including a health fair, school sensitization visits, awareness sessions with youth groups, and training for nurses and law enforcement officers. Douglas said that they will also be visiting churches, noting that there is a false belief that church members are exempt from abuse.
We also plan to go into churches. This is a group of people that persons really don't think are involved in gender-based violence, but yes, our church members can be violated in many ways with the media, and so we would hear every now and again about little things popping up, and persons, tend to keep quiet because it's the church. So we want to go into the churches to sensitize them as to these things. If they are happening, don't keep it a secret, because sometimes it progresses. Little things progress from a hit to a slap to a kick to a box, and then you would find it escalate to the point where you are so abused that you don't want to talk, you're afraid. So we want to sensitize them so that they can be empowered with the knowledge. So if these things are happening to them, there is a way out and where you can go to get help.
Meanwhile, assistants of the National Adolescents Group said social media has made it difficult for them to reach out to the youths who are considered change agents.
And so that generational gap has created a big problem, I would say, for us in terms of reaching youth, because most of them, they're glued to their devices. and really, in order to get behavioral change, we now have to incorporate ICT into our program. And that is a bit limited in terms of capacity, because in terms of the adolescent group, we don't really have a large budget to say, but we try our very best to reach out. But once young people see that other youths are involved and they're enjoying themselves and they're doing things. For example, we camped this year with Police Youth Club in St. Lucia, and that has inspired a lot of them to join the group, because they want to know where camp is going to be next year. It's going to be off island, and they want to be a part of it. So we do things that would attract them. Sporting activity, our sports day, that has been another thing that really attract them, where they compete other groups, and everybody want to take the trophy back home in that sense. So we have been doing a lot of programs that bring them to us, but also we believe in going to the young people, as we said, in terms of school programs, because most young people don't want to leave the home once they have a device.
The 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, which began on November 25th, will come to an end on December 10th. Several tools, appliances, and a jeep were handed over today to the SVG Forestry Services. The handing over ceremony was done through the Ridge to Reef and Iweco project at the Forestry Services Department compound in Camden Park. Speaking at the handing over ceremony, Deputy Chief Agricultural Officer Colville King said both the Ridge to Reef and Iweco projects are important investment which seeks to enhance the capacity for sustainable land management, increase integrated water resource management, and ecosystem monitoring here in SVG.
These projects directly contribute to achieving several of the sustainable development goals. So they are very important projects, and of course we're happy to be benefiting and participating in these projects. We acknowledge and welcome the delivery of these critical pieces of equipment that would certainly boost the capacity of the beneficiary agency or agencies to monitor soil and water soil and water indicators, advance forest restoration or management, and to assist in making informed scientific decisions.
King said that the equipment received today will go a long way to assist the projects in delivering their mandate from a regulatory and development standpoint.
I wish to reiterate as well that notwithstanding our enhanced capacity as a result of these investments, that these are vital but insufficient. And just to use this opportunity to reiterate that it requires the contribution of all partners. CWSA, for example, the Forestry Division, the Fisheries Division, other cooperating agencies, but also important that we continue to reduce the level of river pollution, of plowing downhill that contributes to erosion, poisoning of rivers that leads to damage, destruction to the aquatic and marine life, siltation of riverways and reefs, damage to mangroves, etc.
In other local news now, we hear that the 9 Nights of Lights at the Botanical Gardens is returning this year in all its glory and promises to be bigger than last year. The theme selected for this year's 9 Nights of Light is a Botanical Christmas. Speaking at a media launch today, Chairman of the National 9 Mornings Festival Management Committee, Orandi Bumani Charles, said while SVG is the owner of the most unique Christmas festival, 9 Mornings, it is important to continue to add elements to it that will make the island a destination to be for Christmas.
The 9 Mornings Committee remains committed to supporting these efforts as we work year by year, brick by brick, to build out what we envision to be a Christmas festival like no other in the Caribbean. Given that we are the owners, stewards of the most unique Christmas festival in the world, 9 Mornings, I think it is our responsibility to continue to add bricks and add elements that ultimately result in St. Vincent and the Grenadines being the destination for Christmas. And we are building activities like 9 Nights. We're working with communities across St. Vincent and the Grenadines to build 9 Mornings experiences. We're working with other stakeholders to add enjoyable, family-oriented elements that maybe another 50 years from now, we would need much more room stock to hold the people that we invite to St. Vincent and the Grenadines to experience these activities.
The 9 Nights of Lights at the Botanical Gardens is now in its 9th year. Public Relations Officer of the 9 Nights Committee, Tony Barrow, said the event focuses on enhancing the natural beauty of the gardens and that over $48,000 have been invested in Christmas lights to reflect this year's theme, a Botanical Christmas.
We hope to build on what we had or what we did last year. So our goal, the really aim of 9 Nights of Lights is really to, enhance the garden, and we decorate the flowers, the flower beds, the trees, the shrubs, the gazebos, and all those things, the center aisle, all those, attraction pieces. We put a lot of emphasis into it. And also to complement the lights, we do also have our nightly entertainment. So this year, I could tell you, Bomani said he's hoping that we surpass. I believe that, and my chair will agree with me that we would have surpassed this year in terms of lighting. And if I want to give you a little number, we've spent over 48,000 in lights. So you could imagine, the work that is put into stringing all those lights throughout this garden.
Barrow said among the highlights of the 9 Nights of Lights at the Gardens is the emphasis on the country's cultural heritage, which will be showcased through various nightly performances beginning on Friday, December 15, 2023.
On Saturday the 16th is our Christmas caroling contest, and it's dubbed Spirit Lifted. And you will hear more about that from our representative from the cultural department. On Sunday the 17th is Night of Praise. That is our night where we have our gospel artists coming in and gracing us. Monday the 18th, it's Dance Under the Stars, and that's where we're gonna have our, top and upcoming dance group showcasing their talents. And also, it's not on our calendar. It's not on our calendar, but the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force Band would be gracing us also on the 18th. So their performance will come before the dance, right? So I hope everybody will just take note of that. On the 19th, Tuesday the 19th is Movie in the Garden. And that is a hit. Everybody loves their movie for 9 nights. Wednesday the 20th is Upstage Christmas Experience, where the Upstage Calypso tent will be coming through. Thursday the 21st is Xmas on Steel, and like I said, we have a rep from the European movement, and she will give you more details on that event. Friday the 22nd, we have renamed this night, so it's Botanical Harmonies, and that is specifically focusing on our bands. And then we will close, we bring the curtains down on the 23rd, and we will have, as persons may know, some of our top performances or persons who are able to come back.